Okay, hi, I'm Dr. Tan. So on today, I will guide you step by step how you complete the Lab 6 funding tree and also the Inter-VLAN. So during the lecture sections, we went through the Ethernet network. Okay, how actually when we going to enable the network reliability, we were going to do a link, okay, backup. Okay, so the multiple link there. Okay, so this will going to produce the loops. So on this lab, we were going to learn how we going to enable the spanning tree and also to configure some of the future of the spanning tree STP in order to avoid the loops in the Ethernet switch there. So recall back the STP is under the 8021.D, VLAN is under 1.T, and also RSTP 1.W and also the MSTP is 1.S there. Okay, so we are wasting the times on today's. We will go into based on this topology. Then we going to explore the different state, okay, of the STP, and then how you're going to enable. You change the mode of the STP to determine whether you want STP or RSTP. Then how you're going to change the bridge priority to control your root bridge elections, and how you're going to control your port priority, and how to change the port cost to control the elections of the root port and designated port there lah. And of course on the edge port and also to disable your RSTP. So we were going to using this topology for our lab. Without wasting the time, you can go into turn on your ENSP. Make sure you go into allow your ENSP to run. Okay, the same things always going to open the new topology. Okay, so on today, this lab we were going to using a 4 switches because the switch they need a more than 2, okay, GE. Okay, if you going to select S003, basically they only have a 2 lah. So if you want to only have a 2 available, G only. Okay, so if you want to follow exactly the lab, make sure you're going to select the 5077. Okay, so after you do it, select your copper. So you can go into based on the figure. Okay, so the G00, first one G0013 connect to here G001. Okay, then G002 connect to here G0013. Okay, then here on G003, you connect is a G003. So on this one, G002, you connect to here, G0014. On here, G001, you connect to here, G0014. On here, you connect G0011 to here, G0011. Here, G0010, connect to here, G0010 also. Okay. So after you done all, you can go into highlight all and hit start. So make sure you allow it to run. Okay, after you done all, okay, you can going to dename to the labeling. So this one we were going to name it as a switch 1. You base on your normal metric. The same things on here, you name it as your switch 2. Then here you name it as your switch 3. Switch 4. Okay, we were going to do step by step on here. So going to open your switch. So make sure you have a switch 2, switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, and switch 4. Okay, same like normally, you're going to enter the system view, name your switch 1 as a BI, your normal metric, X1. Same for your switch 3, name it as switch 2. So switch 3, then your switch 4. Okay, after you name all your switch, now, okay, you can go into display your interface brief to check, okay, what actually is the links conditions, which one is up and down. So if follow your lab exercise, they go in ask you to shut down the G12, but your G12 basically you did not go into on it because you did not go into enable the link there. So down, so you no need to do. So the same things for the switch 3, you can go into display interface brief. So you are going to see your interface G002 is down. Okay, so on here, now the first step we were going to do is to enable your STP. Actually, by default, your STP is enabled under all the switches under the Huawei lah. Okay, by default, it is enabled. So actually, you no need to enable it. But because sometimes the questions they were going to ask, so make sure whenever you want to enable your STP, you need to ensure that you enter the system view and then you're going to type STP enable. Okay, so it will going to enable. So now, for example, we going to explore is a STP. So you go into STP mode STP. Okay, so it will go into enable. If let's say you want to enable the RSTP, you type the RSTP. You want to enable the MSTP, you just go into type here is a MSTP. Okay, so the same thing you go to the switch tool. Okay, make sure you enter is under the system mode. So you're going to type. No need to enable because by default, every switch they already enable the STP. You just need to tell which of the STP modes that you want to use. So here we are using the STP. Okay, so go to a switch 3 also. Okay, type the STP mode. Okay, enable STP. Then switch 4. Same thing, STP mode, STP. Okay, now you already enable all the switches. Okay, you can go to your switch to look in what happening on your switch there. Okay, so you just go into display. Okay, what actually is your STP configurations there. Okay, basically once you go into types, okay, the display STP. Okay, so you were going to get for this number by default your bridge ID it will be a 3278. Okay, so this one is 62B2. Okay, Then you're going to go to your display STP also. So this one is the same, but it's a 4C1F. 4C1F CCFE. Okay, so this one is a 66F6. So you can, okay, they will be selected as a root port. Okay, alternate port and also the destination designated port, not destination and designated port. Okay, maybe to ease your understanding, okay, you can try to do the labeling on here. Okay, the first one, you can go into copy out your switch one. Okay, you can go into looking on your bridge number. Okay, so on here, they mentions on your switch one, okay, your G0010, it will be a roots. Okay, G002, it will be your, where is it? G002 alternate 11, alternate 13, alternate. Okay, and then your 14, it will be your, 14, it will be your designated. Okay, you can try to do the labeling in order to understand this topology. Okay, the next one, you can go to your switch 2. So you can go into copy out. So you might get a different number based on your device there. Okay, then you go into select or is a designated port. Okay, because this one is a root bridge. Okay, root bridge, that means all the port, it will be your designated port. So it should be under the forwarding stack lah. Designated port. Okay, the next step, you're going to checking on your router 3. So your router 3, it will be on here. So for the G001, it will be your root port. I think, let me check. G003. Okay, so your G001, designated port. S1. G001, designated port. G002, root port, designated port. Then you can go to your G004, copy out. So you can look in on the G004. Display STP brief. So it will be on the alternate root alternate. So on your G001, it will be on the alternate. Okay, G002, it will be under your root port. And then G003 also is a alternate port. Okay, so this one is all the things. Just we need to recheck our S1 on here because here it should be, let me recheck again. For my switch 3, so my S002 is root port, designator port under the forwarding. For my, okay. So this one is correct, because I misreading. Okay, so this one is sound logic already. Because why I keep checking on this one, because it cannot be designated port on both ends. It should be one is a designated or the root port. Okay, so the thing here is a alternate, so here is a designated port. Okay, so this one is num. Because just now 2 is DD. Because I looking on the wrong labeling on here. Okay. Okay, so this one is my topology. Make sure you going to check your topology. Also see whether you are the one same or not. Okay, if you going to looking on the topology on here, if you're going to study, so of course on the lowest, okay, BID, bridge ID, you will going to select it as a root bridge. Okay, so that means your root bridge. Okay, your switch to my switch to on here is a root bridge. So all the root bridge, the port, it will be under as a designated port. Designated ports. So is correctly. So just like what I mentioned, okay, after your root bridge designated port, so we will going to see it will be under your forwarding state. So you're going to look in on your switch tree or is under your forwarding state. But you look in on your switch 1. Okay, designated root port, but your G001 is an alternate port, so they will be under. Remember, STP is under the discarding stack. Discarding stack. Okay, for the 11 and also the 13th. Okay, but on the 14 is under the forwarding. Okay, so this one you can go into based on your topology. Okay, but now they mentions, okay, you want to change the device to ensure instead we're going to make our switch to as a root bridge. So now we want to change, okay, the X1 as a root bridge. Okay, we want to ensure that this one as a root bridge. Change S1 to a root bridge. And then maybe this one I might change another color. Okay, and then we will going to make the here as a backup. Okay, secondary root bridge. Okay. So how you going to make it? You just need to change using the roots primary. Okay, so now you're going to run your command switch 1. Okay, you're going to enter. Make sure you enter under the system view. You just using the STP roots primary to make it as a root bridge. Okay, Then at the same time, you will go to your switch through. Okay, you are going to make it same, have to enter the system bill. You type the secondary. Okay, you will type the STP root, but you make it as a secondary. Okay, so now you can go into display. Okay, STP. Okay, you can go into see the configurations here. So on here, okay, you will going to get, okay, because on the switch to, so you will going to see they are going to change, okay, your root priority no more is a 0, they will change to be a 2000, but on here priority secondary by default it will change to 4096. But if you're going to see the first one is a root primary, so display STP, so you should get is a 0. Primary it will be a 0, but secondary, it will going to change your root bridge. Your bridge ID, it will change to a 4096. And this one cannot be changed. You cannot manually change it. Okay. And then the root cost. Okay. Current your path cost. Okay. To your root. Okay. It will be a 0. But just now the switch to is a root, right? So now they were going to change to 2000. So you can go into see the root type here, you change to secondary root, and the switch one you change to a primary root. So now you can go into check on the condition. Okay, you can go into display STP brief. Okay, so on here it should be or will be changing to a forwarding because now this one is become a root bridge. So that means you were going to change or to be a D. Okay, you just remember lah, or you were going to immediately change to a designated port. And your topology it actually will be changing. Okay, we no need to label one by one for the second after we going to change it. Okay, you just going to go through. So you go to your second your second bridge S2. So display STP brief. So you were going to see you not all under the forwarding. Now they were going to make your 11. Okay, is the alternate port. The same things they were going to change the topology under your S3 and also the S4. So you can go into display STP brief. Okay, so you see on here under the S3 just now is all under the forwarding. But now, okay, your G002 will become the alternate. Okay, will become the alternate. And you go to your switch 4. The same things you're going to display your STPBR. So it will be under your 2 and 3 is under the alternate. So 3 demanded as a alternate. Okay. Okay, this is what actually you were trying to do lah. Okay, so another one, if let's say, okay, we want to modify the parameters, okay, and to let them to become the root port. Okay, example, on the switch port, okay, you going to looking on it, your switch port, okay, or is a alternate. Okay, you have the alternate port, you have your alternate, and also you have your root ports. Okay. Okay, if this one, I think if the range parameter not found, you're trying to put the range on here, interface. Okay, then you put a spacing. So it look like your range is not supported under the versions of the command here. So if that the case, no choice, you have to enter every interface. Okay, and then going to enable the root bridge there. Okay, so you have to go to there, and then you example for the 10, then you go into an edge port, enable. Okay, then you go to interface G00 11. Okay, until a G0020 lah. You do one by one. So you're going to enable your STP edge port. Enable. If let's say your range is not supporting under the versions VRP of your switch there. Okay, so on today's the lab is quite straightforward. So you can just go into continue to do it. Okay, on second part, let's focus on the another sections we call it as a add trunk. Okay, going to the second part. So you are going to do is a link aggregations, or most of the times we going to mention is a add trunk. So basically in a Ethernet switch, we always will have a multiple link. Okay, so without wasting the multiple link, we will going to add trunk them aggregated LAN in order to increase the bandwidth and also to improve the availability and do the load balancing there. So for this lab, you were going to first, you were going to explore how you're going to manually configure the link aggregations, or you were going to configure using a static LSCP, okay, and also to determine how actually under the static LSCP, how you're going to determine the active link. Okay, so basically in this lab, we were going to follow this topology, have two switches, and also using a continuous Ethernet links 10, 11, and 12. So remember, under if you want to do the Etran, you have to ensure the both end it should be under the same GE. Okay, you cannot go into Etran 1 is a GE Ethernet there. Okay, so without wasting the time, go to open your new topology there. Okay, open your new topology, then it's going to drop two switch. Okay, here because you're using is a 3GE link, so make sure you're going to select as a S577. So select here, make sure you're going to using is a continuous. So select 10 to 10. Okay, then select again 11 to 11. Eh, difficult to drop 11. Then we have another one, 13 to 13. Okay, 12, not 13, 12 to GE 12 to 12. Okay, going to on your device, and you can go into name your device also as the BI23XXX1 and BI23XX S2. Okay, so now all your device is already up. Okay, on here, the first step we were going to do to ensure that you're going to Actran, that means you're going to add these three link into the Actran interface. You have to create the Actran interface. So you're going to do your configuration. So the same things denames your system. So now I under the switch 2, I'm going to rename your Lomo metric and then your switch 2. Then go to your switch 1. Enter the system view, system BI23XX X1. Okay, after that, the first step you can going to do, going to create the interface trunk. Okay, you name it as a trunk. 1. Okay, then you can go to your interface also do the character same at trunk also. Okay, make sure you are under the same at trunk one. Okay, go back to your switch one. Now, example, we want to do is a manual mode. So we were going to tell them, okay, our mode that we want to do is a manual load balancing. Load balance. Manual load balance. So now on this one, after you going to enable the working mode of your add trunk, okay, either you can go into using is a manual load balance or you using the LACP. LACP later we were going to do it, but now we're going to add it as a manual load balance. So you were going to add every interface on your switch 1. That means starting from your 0, 10, 11, and 12. So you going to the quit your interface and enter each of the interface G0010. Okay, you're going to add it into your add trunk 1. Okay, quit, go to your interface G0011. Okay, go to your add trunk 1. Okay, so you quit, then go to the interface G0012. Okay, it's the same thing going to type on your add trunk 1. You're going to add it. Okay, the same things you can go to your switch 2. Okay, just now you already entered the add trunk. But on this one, you basically can using another commands. We call it as a trunk port to add a multiple interface into your add trunk. But remember the trunk port, you should go into using under your add trunk one add trunk interface lah. So you were going to tell from the G0010 to 10 0012. You were going to make them as a add trunk. So this one, it seems like you are not going to support too many interface. Okay, maybe we can just try again, follow the exactly ones. Okay, so make sure you're going to type the full commands here lah, G. Instead going to type the G. Okay. So after that, you going to you are going to add the trunk. So how many link of the trunks you can going to add it? How many port? On here, we only add in a 3 port. So remember, the maximum you can going to add is a add member port only. So make sure once this example for the G0011, I add into the add trunk 1, I cannot go into create another add trunk and then I add this interface to another add trunk. Okay, and then remember it can only add into only one add trunk only. Add trunk. You cannot go in. If you want to add to another one, you should go into delete on it. Okay, so make sure all the trunk, okay, you must be the remove port. You also have to add into your local ports lah. Otherwise, they cannot go into communicate, and ensure the number of the physical port. Okay, your port rate and also your duplex. That means the GE. Okay, the it should be the physical port. It should be the same. Otherwise, it cannot be run. So how I going to check whether my add trunk port is successfully or not? So I can go into quit on my switch 2. I just display add trunk 1. So you are going to see you have 3 interface. You have 3 interface. Okay, the same things you can go into your switch 1. Okay, quit display add trunk 1. So you are going to see all the interface is up. Okay, the next one we were going to trying to do is a manual mode. Okay, to do the not the manual, the LACP. Just now, what we're going to do, we are going to enable the manual mode. Okay, manual load balancing. So now we're trying to do is a LACP. But before that, we have to remove it. Okay, so you enter to your interface, add trunk. 1. So you will going to undo, okay, your trump port G00 until G0012. The same one, you have to go to your switch tool, okay, enter your interface at trunk, okay, undo your trump port. Okay, now what you need to do under your switch 1 or switch 2, you can go into determine your mode is a, after you go into undo already, okay, you can go into determine your mode you want to using is a static LACP mode. Okay, so same things, go to your switch 1, going to enable mode LACP. Okay, now you do already the LACP, the same things you have to go to your add trunk. No need to add one by one. You just going to add trunk port for your 10 to 12 under your switch 1. Okay, then you can go into display your add trunk to check. Right. Okay, you will going not selected, not yet, because I forgot to do under the switch 2. So here you will going to trunk port A. Sorry, I double. Okay, now boss I already do, you can go into display your add trunk 1. Okay, so you should going to see all is a selected. Okay, they will go into selected 0, 10, 11, 12. The same thing you going to look in on here and select right just now. So you try one more time because just now I'm not yet doing on the both side. So now they will be selected. Okay, in case example, most of the times on all your routers 11 and 12, okay, you will go into using example, you don't want all of these three to be forwarding, okay, you want to make a G0010 as a backup, okay, and make 11 and 12 as a forwarding state. So you want to ensure that your number of the active port it will going to have below 2. So you will going to make, okay, your switch 1. Okay, first thing you have to make your switch 1 as a active uh, as an active device. So how you going to make it as an active device? So you will going to make the priority. Change the priority. So you go to the X1. Okay, make sure you quit. You enter a LSCP. You set the priority. Make it as a 100. Okay, then because you want to make the G0010 as a backup. Okay, so the same things, you will going to make it as a 4,000 as long as they higher. Okay, higher than the default value 32768. That means they will going to select it as a actors. Okay, so you go into the integer G0010. So now we change the LACP priority on the interface. It to be a 40,000. Okay, 40,000, 400, because it should be higher than the default value 32768. Okay, that means the default one it will going to be selected. Okay, so now the same things, you after you going to make it on this one, you will going to set the upper and lower threshold of your active port because we want just to make 11 and 12. So 2 active port only. So you enter your interface at trunk. Okay, then you select the maximum active link number. So it's okay. You also make it as a not minimum. They using is a list. Okay, active link number also is a 2. Okay, so this one is basically you're going to tell us how many number of the active port. Okay, the same things you are going to ensure the PM's commands. Okay, so whenever the active link is full, the system will going to select your backup link with the higher priority to replace the fault ones. Okay, so you ensure that under here, you're going to LACP PMs and error. Okay, now you can go into display your add trunk one. Okay, you are going to see your G0010 is will be unselected. So you only have a 2 active link, G0011 and also the 12 will be selected. Okay, now example, we want to let's see what happen. What will be happen if let's say we go in to shut down the G0012. So we see whether the G0010 will be taking effect or not. So to shut down the interface, you just go to the interface G0012. So you're doing a shutdown. Okay, so now you're going to display against your trunk. Okay, you have make sure you have to quit the interface. Then you display again trunk one. So you see they will, if the 12 is down, so your 10s and 11s, your 10s backup one will be selected as a active link. Okay, so the same things you can go into manipulate on it lah. Okay, if let's say we're going to do, now we're going to enter the interface G0011. Okay, we're going to shut down also. Okay, then you try to quit. Then you're going to display your add trunk. So you will notice here, okay, or it will be a down, unselected. Why? Because you set your threshold link is 2. So whenever your add trunk is shut down, so your G0010 is still out, but you said it should be a maximum 2 link, even though you only have 1 link 10. So it still will be on the unselected, how to say, unselected. Okay, it cannot make the add trunk because you already set just now before the command, you set the max and also the least. Okay, active link, it should be a 2. Okay, now you're going to look in on the load balancing. We were going to enable all the interface. You go to G0011. So you undo shutdown. Okay, so you're going to make them up. Okay, the same things you're going to in the quit interface G0012. So undo shutdown. Okay, so you are going to display again. Okay, quit, display again your add trunk. Okay. So you are going to see still the 10s and 11s, it will be a selected lah for my cases on here. Okay, so you can go into check again. So now after we waiting for 30 seconds, okay, after we first thing they were going to add the 10 and 11. But after that's when your 11, your link G0012, okay, because the priority is a 32 by default, you did not going to change it, so it's a 32768. So after that, they were going to have a lower priority will be selected, right? So against the tens, it will become unselect. That means they will become a backup link there. Okay, now example, the next one, you are going to change the load balancing mode of the Actron to the destination's IP address. Okay, so under your switch one, you are going to enter your interface Actron 1. Okay, you are going to do the load balancing for your destinations based on your destination's IP load balancing. Okay, so this one you can go into using the load balance command to set the load balancing mode of your Actron. Okay, so and then load balancing is only for outgoing traffic. So you were going to have using setting as a destination IT base. Okay, so again, whether you want to check your configurations. Okay, you can go into quick display your current configurations. So you can check whether you have denamed your switch, then your priority, you are going to have a 100. Okay, then on here, you will have to set up your extract one. You're going to using is a LACP static mode. So you set the minimum is 2, maximum is 2. Then you're going to do the load balancing destinations and you're going to preempt is an error. Okay, so you're going to check which of the interface actually you're going to add into the extract one. You set it. Okay, 10. Extract one, and then you change the priority larger than the default value so that it will become a backup. Then you're going to check also on your 11 and 12, they will become your Actron. Okay, so you can go in to check also the configurations of your switch 2. Okay, display current configurations. So the same things on here. Okay, on your X2, you have enabled the extract one. The mode you are using is a static mode. So you're going to check on your G0010, you add it into the Actron 11 and also the track. You add it into the Actron. Okay, so I think that's all for our second part. We will going to continue again on our Inter-VLANs. Okay, this one supposedly we're going to put it into the previous lab exercise, but because the previous lab exercise, we have too many, okay? So we just going to put on this part lah to understand how you're going to do the implement the Inter-VLAN. Okay, so basically VLAN, okay, is going to separate the layer 2 broadcasts are not correlations. It's a broadcast. Even though the VLANs they actually can go into separate the collisions, but with more mentions the VLAN is to go in to minimize the broadcast domain. So on the Huawei, they provide a variety of the technology. So you can using a sub interface using a .1Q terminations. So you are going to create the sub interface. Actually, is a layer 2 logical interface lah. So it's just using the VLAN if. Okay, or you can using a VLAN if interface. Also is a layer 3. So the difference on here is after the .1 termination sub interface and IP is configured. So your device will add the corresponding MAC address entry, okay, to the layer 3 forwardings to implement the layer 3 communications under the VLAN. Okay, so normally this one is you're going to apply whenever your layer 3 Ethernet ports, you are connected to multiple VLAN. But in case, most of the times, if you just want to enable the communications, okay, between the VLANs to let the layer 3, so you are going to using is a VLAN if. So the same things you are going to add your MAC address and also the VID, okay, VLAN ID, okay, to the MAC address table and set the layer 3 forwarding flag. Okay, So on this exercise, you were going to explore these two methods lah. The first one, we were going to using a .1 queue terminations. And then that means you're going to create a sub interface. The second one, you were using the VLAN if interface. So we were going to using this topology to set up our configurations on here. So make sure the same things always before you going to leave this one, you can going to save your previous configurations. Okay, since you were going to save your topology also under your Lab06B for the previous lah. Okay, before you going to try for your Inter-VLANs. So open the new topology. Okay, so we will going to using a 3 routers. Okay, and then we have a 1 switch. So this switch we need a 3 GE, so you can go in try to using the X5700 lah. Okay, make sure you select the port. So on here you were going to connect G001 to the switch 1 G001. On here you connect to a G002, connect to the G001, and then G003 connected to a G001. Okay, so you can go into selected or start. Okay, you name this one as a router 1, router 2, router 3. Then you name this one as a switch 1. Make sure you select all and start. Okay, so maybe we do while we are waiting, we can go into do some of the labeling. Okay, so for your routers, okay, two basically we will going to assign the IP address or the G001. Okay, we were going to using 192.168.2.1 subnet mask 24. Okay, on my router 2 G001. Okay, the same things that I will going to do on my router 3. Okay, on my G001, on here I will going to using 192.168. Okay, using another subnet 3.24. Okay, then at the same time on the VLAN batch, okay, we will going to create. Okay, on here we were going to assign router to is supposedly going to subject to the maybe we will going to draw like this. Okay, then we're going to draw another one, make it another color yellow. Okay, so this one we were going to make it as a VLAN 2. This one we were going to make it as a VLAN 3. Okay, so make sure if everything you connect to the N one, you were going to make them as a access port. So PVID, you make it as a 2. For GE, 2. So the same thing on here, we were going to make it as a access port, and then PVID is a 3. Okay, so of course under here, you were going to make on this one, you were going to make them as a trunk port. Okay, so make sure trunk port you will allow the VLAN 2 and 3 to pass. You can go into make the node lah, VLAN 2 and 3. Okay. So on this topology, we will going to set under your router 1 using your sub interface. That means on here, we were going to create the sub interface. Okay, we lamp it as a we can go into make it as a 0.2 for VLAN 2 and 0.3 for VLAN 3. Okay, we can go into create the sub interface 0.2. Okay, for the VLAN ID 2. Okay, then on here after that, on this interface, we were going to create on here is for the sub interface 0.3. Okay, is for your VLAN 3 there. Okay, so now we try to configure on this one. Okay, the first exercise is you going to using a creating the sub interface. Okay, so this one is a .1Q terminations start interface. Okay, so remember always we will going to do on the it depends on your preferences lah, but always we will going to do the lower layer first. Okay, on here you just go to your router 1, 2, 3. So the first step always the same law, you just go into the router 6. Okay, 6 names. So remember to name it as follow your normal matrix router 1. Okay. Then you go into this one is your router 1. So you go to router 2 lower level. 6 name BI23XX router 2. Okay. Okay, then you go into enter system 6 name. Okay, BI23XX router 3. Then you go into rename your switch also 6 name BI23. Your normal matrix, you don't follow me type 23XX. It's follow your normal matrix, so I name it as a X1. Okay, the first step, we go back to our router 2. Router 2. So inside the router 2, we will go into assign, enter a G00, assign the IP address. Enter, okay, the interface G001. So assigns the IP address 192.168.2.124. Okay, so you're going to quit it. So remember on here, because now you are going to doing under a different router, a different router. So you need to configure a gateway, okay, to a router to route it. So as long as the routers they going to route it, we will going to direct it into your G00 to here. So you're going to ensure that your IP address, okay, you are going to do the IP route static, okay, from any network. You are going to route to the 192.168.2.254. Sorry, I typo. Static, not static. IP root static 0.0.0. Okay, I forgot na. This one, 25. Okay, after that, the same things you were going to do for your router 3. Okay, you move to your router 3. Okay, you were doing the same thing, assign the IP address and then set the referred route go through the gateway on here. So you were going to type the interface, they are connected under the G001. Okay, after that you assign the IP address 192.168.3.124. Then you're going to quit. Make sure you're going to set the root static. Okay, it's from the 0.0.00192.168.3.254. This one is a default gateway. Okay, so after you done already, now your switch, you will starting to allocate to the VLAN. Okay, you can go to your you can try go back lah. We follow here, follow your exercise. We go to the router to we do on the router for your switch one first. Okay, now you already done it. We will going to do under your switch one. Okay, you're going to create the VLAN 2 and also the VLAN 3. Okay, the same things you're going to create the VLAN 2 and 3. Okay, so after that, you were going to enter your G002. G002 interface. Okay, make it as a port. Okay, link type, make it as a access. Okay, then add it into the PBID default VLAN 2. So you are going to do another interface under your G003. Enter your G003. So the same things you are going to make it your port link types. Okay, it's a access. So you port default VLAN 3. Or you can go into type port default VLAN is a VLAN 3. Okay, now you already done for this part. You already assigned them as a access port. You need to configure your G001 as your trunk port. Okay, quick, go to your G001 of your switch. You make it as a trunk port. Port link types. Trunk. Okay, port trunk. You will allow pass so that VLAN 2 and 3 so that they can go into communicate. Okay, make sure you allow pass VLAN 2 and 3. Okay, so because they are a different VLAN, so you need to forward up into the layer 3 switches. So inside our router 1, we will going to match the interface. Sub interface. Okay, so same, go to your router 1. Okay, make sure your router 1 you going to enter is a interface G001.2. Why is 1? Because here is a G001. So you should going to enter a G001.2. 0.2. Why 0.2? Because we follow the VLAN ID. Okay. Make sure you enter is a system view. Okay, now you enter the VLANs 1.2. You are going to implement the terminations of the VLAN text. So you type dot 1Q. So terminations of your VLAN ID 2 so that it can be forwarded into the layer 3. Okay, so example, if on case G001, when they receive a VLAN 2 lab, okay, VLAN 2 tab, okay, it will send the data to this sub interface for the terminations lah. So make sure always, okay, when you going to do, okay, of the things, you have to enable the ARP broadcast enable. Okay, so this one, because they cannot going to forward your broadcast package automatically. Okay, so to allow them to sub interface to broadcast, you have to enable your ARP broadcast enable. Okay, so the same things we will going to tell them. Okay, the IP address you are going to assign is a IP address 192.168.2.254 subnet mask 24. Okay, so this one maybe I put the labeling on here. You are using a 192.168.2.25 or 24. So on here, you are going to using is a 192.168.3.25424. Okay, now you're going to done already for your interface G00 sub interface point 2. So the next step we will going to create your interface and enters, okay, create your interface for your G00 1.3 sub interface point 3. Why point 3? Because it's a VLAN 3 there. Okay, the same things after you enters, always you need to terminate, okay, the VLAN tab. Terminations of the VID 3. as long as long as you receive from the VLAN 3, so they will going to terminate the VLAN tab. So because they terminate the VLAN tabs, always you need to enable the broadcast ARP to be enabled. Okay, after you enable, okay, don't forget to assign the IP address 192.168.3 .254 to 24. Then you're going to quit it. Okay, now we already done the configurations to enable the router 2 to talk to your router 3. So you can try under your router 2. Okay, you can try to ping A from your router 192.168.2.1 to reach out 192.168.3.1. Okay, to reach out this one. See whether they are able to reach up or not. So you see here, they should be able to getting the reply on here lah. Okay, you should able to get the reply. So you can try to trace it also to see how actually the package we're going to reach up. Sorry, typo. So you were going to see the first step, they were going to forward up to the 254 on here. Then after that, it will going to reach up. So they will go through the ping, reach up this router, and then go back to router 3. Okay. So the next step we will go into using another way. Okay. We will going to do, maybe I put it as a yellow color. So we will going to create is a VLAN if. Okay, we don't use the sub interface. We're using a VLAN if interface. Okay, to doing the VLAN if interface, make sure you have to undo all the configurations on the previous one. Okay, make sure you go to your switch one. Okay, quit. Enter your G001, no need to quit. So here you're going to undo your port trunk. 2 and 3. Ethernet G003. So here I got a typo again. Okay, make sure you undo. After you undo the allowed pass, you can undo your port link types. Okay, then after that, you also going to undo your interface. Sub interface G00 just now is 1.2. Okay, also undo your interface G00 1.2. I have to type a full one. So 1.2. Sorry. You have to quit. It's not under your interface. You have to undo under your system view. Sorry. I doing the wrong one. You should go back because the interface is doing on the router. So basically, I doing on the switch. So remember, your switch, you don't have the sub interface. Sorry. So you have to go to your router. Okay, so undo your interface on the router because on here we do it on the router. Sorry, my mistake there. So that's why it cannot keep running. So make sure you're going to undo a 1.3 also. Okay, now we go back under your switch 1. Okay, we already undo all the things. Okay, on here you were going to create a one VLAN. You call it as a VLAN if 2. Okay, instance you're going to do the things. So on here, switch 1, here you were going to create a one under your switch 1, you were going to create the VLAN if okay is 2, and then you're going to assign the IP address okay on that interface. Maybe I can going to put on here. You assign is a VLAN if 2 interface. Okay, then here maybe I change the color of the background. Okay, on here I will going to assign the IP address is a 192.168 at 2.254.24 under my switch 1. So the same things under my switch 2, I will going to make it as a VLAN switch 1 also, but I is a 3. VLAN if 3, so I will going to make it as a 3. Okay, so you just going to this one maybe I change the background color to a yellow. Okay, so now you very simple, you just go to the interface of your switch 1. Make sure you're doing the switch 1. Okay, you going to assign the VLAN if. Okay, make sure you enter the interface VLAN if. For your switch 1, enter the interface VLAN. I always typo. VLAN if to interface. Then going to assign the IP address of the interface. Then you quit it. Okay, you now go to the VLAN if interface 3. Okay, then you're going to assign your IP address. It will be your VLAN if interface 3. It will be your IP address 192.168.3.25424. Okay, then you can go into quit. Okay, then under your router 2, now you can try to ping your router 3. You should able to ping it lah. 3.1. So you are getting the decline. So basically, this is show you a difference where how you going to do the to enable a different VLANs to do the communications there. So you have to apply to the layer 3 in order to allow a different VLANs to be configured to communicate. Okay, so I think on this lab exercise, so remember, most of the times if you're using a VLAN if, you just want to forward, okay, to enable them to implement the layer 3 communication between a different VLANs. Okay, and then for the .1Q, basically you apply to the scenario where your layer 3 Ethernet ports you need to connect to a multiple VLAN. Okay, so that's all for our lab 6. Okay, we have went through how you're going to configure the STP and then how you're going to do the ACTRAN and do the load balancing. Then after that, you were going to cover the previous topics Inter-VLANs on this lab exercise there. Okay, our third one. So make sure before you're going to leave it, you have to save your configurations. Okay, and then go into save all the configurations. Okay, and then save your topology. That's all for our lab 6 and see you again on lab 7. Bye bye.